Hey guys, just wanted to put out a quick guide here explaining some of the details of the optimal platform cycle in Black Root Burrows for Ori and the Blind Forest speedrunning. Uh, this is a somewhat more advanced topic, so definitely if you're not like really familiar with the route and comfortable with moving around in Black Root, you can give this one a pass for now. But if you're looking to improve your times getting to dash, this is definitely a good spot to look. So going to load into the save file here, and the first thing I want to point out, as it takes a bit to load in, is basically your movement into this cutscene. So I'm going to pause right here, uh, and you might remember that once you reach about this spot on the screen, there is a signed dialogue that takes place. So I'll actually show it right there. And what I'm doing specifically is not jumping into that dialogue. You can save a bit of time by jumping and triggering the dialogue while you're farther to the right, but the downside is that it's going to make catching the platform cycle once you get past the lasers in Blackroot much, much less forgiving. So, definitely if you're just learning, starting out with this cycle, I would highly recommend that you not jump into that particular dialogue. So, rest is pretty standard, just level and ability and the save anywhere and reload. And then we're going to do mostly like pretty typical movement for the start of this area. I will just pause right here and point out that this jump is going to save like 10 frames or so. It's just a minimum height, like tap jump, once you get up here. And, it'll take you down to this spot where the slime is a little bit faster than just walking off. So yeah, gonna drop down, do the wraparound jump. Hopefully you're somewhat familiar with that, and just kind of follow this movement as you go. Really, the first key point I want to point out is this orb. So basically, there are two ways this can go. You either get the one frame orb pickup before the cutscene, or you don't. So here I'm going to intentionally not get the one frame orb, and the reason for that is I want to show off a little manip that you can do to make the cycle easier if you don't get the one frame orb. So if you happen to pick up the orb right away, uh, don't do this because you don't need to, and it'll actually mess up your platform bob cycles. But you'll see, wait, pick up the orb, put it down, and right here on this platform I'm doing another jump. So you don't have to specifically jump, but you do want to stall on this platform for a decent amount of time, about as much. Like I just time it out by jumping kind of a medium to almost max height. And what this does is it sets up the platform bobs on the next two platforms so that you can get across in the space where the cycles are loaded as quickly as possible, pretty much. So if we advance a little bit more, you see once I see this last platform all the way to the right reach its peak, that's when I'm going to start running and jumping over to it. Uh, and basically doing this manip lets you kill a little bit of time while the cycle is unloaded in order to get across to here quickly when it really matters. So we're going to jump across, and now I'm going to do a turnaround jump to get up to this little nook in the wall. And basically, whatever you do to get up to the crystal up here so that you can get the orb to drop, as long as you're not like wasting time missing the jump or anything, it should be fast enough. But this method that I use, I find by far the most consistent to get up and not have to worry too much about getting stuck on a wall or anything. So basically, I actually am a little bit higher up than I would like to be. Basically, you want to run down the slope and then a little bit back up to the left so that you're around like the middle, kind of around where the experience orb is, or a little bit higher. And then you're going to do a turnaround jump. So what that is basically you're holding left, you're going to switch over to right, and then quickly jump up to the wall. And that will give you this kind of animation, that little flip. And that is going to set up your height really well to be able to hit this wall, do a neutral jump up to this part, and then jump across to the other side uh, very quickly, like that. And that hop right there can be kind of relevant too. Basically, once you get up here, it can be helpful to do a little hop. It somehow like affects when the orb is going to drop for you. Uh, if you're getting results without it, you don't need to worry about it. But just something to try if you feel you need something to try. So anyway, pick up the 100 experience, make your way down here, and we're gonna jump across the lanterns here. You can sometimes get kind of stuck having to do a really high jump or pause a little bit, just because of the cycle going from this first lantern to the second one. That should be okay. You should be able to make it still without that causing a problem if you have to do slightly inefficient movement. Uh, Basically, what you want to look for is like right here. You can kind of see the laser firing off in the distance. If that top or bottom laser rather is going off like somewhere in here as you're kind of jumping to this middle lantern, you should be in good shape to make the cycle. So we're just going to continue, and the way I approach these lasers is I wait until I can basically react to the top laser firing, and then I try to do as small a jump as possible onto the bounce pad. So just to explain a little bit the way the bounce pad, getting past the lasers works, we're going to be bouncing past the lasers without ever hitting the ground. We're going to be going from bounce pad to bounce pad to bounce pad and not waiting on the ground in between. So, uh, so basically what you want to look out for is one, your timing should be like you want to basically be pretty close to getting hit by this bottom laser. And the timing I explained where you wait for it to go off and then do a small jump onto the bounce pad should give you the right setup for that. Uh, and then the next part is you want to basically let go of jump once you get enough height to just barely make it onto the next bounce pad. So I'll just show what that looks like and then go back. So let go, and you just barely make it past all the lasers. That's the kind of pattern you're looking for. So going back again, what I'll say is if you have jump bound to like the space bar or something on your left hand, I find it much, much easier to actually bind jump to a numpad key that you hit with your right hand, and it's just so much easier to like press and release it at the appropriate times. And in case you haven't used a numpad bind before, it doesn't explain it in the key rebindings file, but if you type in like keypad 6 under jump, that will bind numpad 6 to jump. And that's very helpful for a number of things, but I think especially for this, if you don't have jump like on your mouse, it can be very helpful for getting this cycle. So if you want to just watch on the input display right here, this jump button that is in the numpad 6 location, you can see I'm releasing it towards the top of the jump so that I don't get too much height. And that's crucial for being able to get past the lasers and survive. So once you do that, It hopefully will line up pretty well for you to just jump onto this platform immediately onto the next, and you're on your way. This part specifically, getting past the lasers and then onto the platforms on the optimal cycle, is where not jumping into the statue cutscene, or the statue sign dialogue rather, really makes a difference. Like, this hopefully will not be too much of a problem for you once you get to this point. If you follow what I did at the start, that's where it really matters. So, yeah, that's really it. A lot of information, but that should be all you really need to know to get through Black Root Burrows on the optimal platform cycle. So, good luck practicing, and yeah, feel free to ask if you have any questions. Thank you.